In my dreams, I think it's safe to say I'm free. So Gautama Buddha said that we must all wake up. Yes, remember that quote, I am awake. We must wake up and not go back to sleep. But what Ernest Holmes teaches in religious science is that our job is to wake up as the dream. Not to just wake up and throw away the dream as something we can't do. That's what I do in my dreams. Here's the real world. How many of you have ever heard yourself saying, well, I've got to go back to the real world? How many times have you been on vacation and then on a Sunday after the week's over say, I'm going to have to go back to the real world tomorrow? I heard it all yesterday, right? People were like, oh, now we're leaving the mountain to go to the real world. And yet our job is not to go back to the real world, but to take our dream state of consciousness into the real world. To allow ourselves to really be fully present, awake from the dream state of knowing everything's possible. I love the lyrics in there. When I'm asleep, everything's possible. When I'm dreaming, everything's possible. No, when you are awake, everything is possible. And if you're dreaming something, make it real. Just by knowing who you are, by allowing that higher self that you are to do what you want to do, to be free to do that. So, the title of my talk today is What I Learned at Summer Camp. So there should be a representation of every single person up here. The only person that's hard to see is Angie, because she was hiding behind someone. She's up there somewhere. Oh, you're not in anything, Will? I tried to get them all in. Apparently I didn't. So, but anyway, these are just shots from the summer teen camp. And this up here, the feet are the feet of my family members. What they do is they take every, what were we called? Advisor, and give them a family, and you become the father of the family and the mother of the family, or two fathers, two mothers, however it turns out. And you can't have any of your own children. So you get a whole new group, 6 children, to take through the whole week. And it's one of the most beautiful things about the camp. So I have to fess up and say that I did not want to go to this teen camp this time. You go up to it, you drive up to the top of this mountain, you are stuck in I can't even think of the lowest type of hotel there is, but it would be that. You're instantly put in a bunk with 6 teenagers, and you're in charge of the bunk, and they're bunk beds. And I can't even call them beds, nor can I call them mattresses, because they're not. They're like these little thin pieces of plastic, and as soon as you lay on it, it goes like, psh. It was just pretty interesting. And the young man above me, who was 16 or 17, weighed way more than me. He was like 175 pounds, handsome, very, very well built. But when he got on his top bunk on my first night there, I noticed that above me, the only thing holding his thing was these slats of wood, which had all started to do this. And I instantly thought, if he were to fall through, the wood would break in half and the spiky parts of the wood would boom. And I was like, this would be a very auspicious ending to my career. Impaled by a teenager at 63. So the food should not have that term, food. And you are confined to a schedule. At 11 p.m., lights out. Done. They're out. And it's my job to say lights out, which means lights go out and then they talk for an hour at very high decibels, but I brought headphones, although I was supposed to be paying attention, but I had headphones in. What else can I say about my week? So about freedom. So lights out, you wake up at a certain time, advisors could shower between... shave, shower, and the other shiz. We can do all of it between 6:15 and 6:30. Because at 6:30, 150, 200 boys are coming at you with like the most incredible towels and toothbrushes and stuff. And by the midweek, the entire floor of the bathroom was nothing but mud. Anyway, it was beautiful. But the freedom aspect, it was very interesting because knowing I was coming back to talk about freedom, there was a freedom. There was a spiritual freedom. There was a freedom of expression. There was a freedom of communication and fellowship. You just didn't have all the other amenities. And here's something, and I will share this, although it does not make me look very bright. We got there Saturday. So Sunday morning, I woke up, and I was the first one in the bathroom, so it wasn't so dirty yet. And I showered, and I'm shampooing my hair. Anyone that knows me knows that I like my hair. And so I'm shampooing my hair, and I'm like, oh my God, even the water's terrible. I'm getting no lather to my shampoo. So I shampooed my hair. And it wasn't until I started to brush my teeth that I noticed I had shampooed my hair with my hair gel. So now, not only have I not shampooed my hair, but it's greasy and matty. And of course, there were already 200 kids in line for the shower. I couldn't get back in. And I was like, great. And I didn't have a hat at that particular moment. So that's how I started my week. And I went to Eric. I was like, I need shampoo. I have got to get shampoo. And then I did. So anyway, I just wanted to preface that. Now, before I went to teen camp, I really didn't want to go. And because I thought, I don't have a week of my life to give to the teens. I know it's my kids' last summer camp, and they're Padawans, meaning they're 18. So there's this special ceremony for the Padawans, and I'm not going to talk about it. Ask me, I'll tell you what they did. You can't do it because there are kids here that will be Padawans. It's quite secret. Anyway, it's a beautiful ceremony. And so I knew I wanted to be there, but it was the I don't want to go was way heavier than the I do want to go. And then, as only can happen with the law of mind, the law of attraction, what you want always materializes. Nora ended up getting tonsillitis, and her tonsils swelled up, and I'm like, yes! Because if she has tonsillitis, I have to stay home to take care of her. Because Kevin was going to leave town to go to North Carolina. So she says to me, and I look it up, and it's like tonsillitis is not contagious. So the only way would be, and she came to me, she said, Dad, tell me if I have any white spots on my tonsils, because that's the only way I won't go. I won't go if I have an infection. Otherwise, I'm going with the tonsillitis. I was like, okay. So she opened up her mouth, and I put the little light in there, and I swear to God, for a moment, I was like, just tell her they're white. Just tell her she's white. And I'm looking in her throat, and I was like, damn. I said, no, you're good to go. So off we went. I could not come up with one excuse that would really work. And I sort of did want to go, but anyway, you get the story. So we all went up there, and I just have to tell you, it is remarkably intense to spend this much time working so with such focus and clarity on spirituality. What CSL does, and I'm going to we did a big shout out to Dr. Stephen Gabrielson, who now runs the teen camps, and to Janet Moore, and of course to our very own Connie Tibbetts-Milner. Because they are the three people who run this camp. They are the three people that are really putting all together. And then there's a lot of leadership and a lot of things happening. And it was just beautiful. So what I thought I would do is come back to you and talk to you about what I learned at camp. What we really focused on was our choice, our ability to choose. One of the things Ernest Holmes teaches is that right where you are, you have the capability, the possibility, and the responsibility to choose what is best for you in any given moment. And watching these teens get these messages and understand that choices have consequences and that how we choose things is what brings our future forward. And I know we talk about that every Sunday here. I know every Sunday, part of my job is to keep us all going on that path of understanding how powerful our minds are. And it's very interesting to watch the teens that are just starting to get it, the teens that get it, and the teens that don't know it yet. And to watch them all interact in the same way. But the best part for me was to then notice the different facets of my own mind. Because how many of us don't get it sometimes? How many of you make choices and don't use your mind to make them? right? So there's that group, and then there's the group that's starting to understand it. And so they're looking for, demonstrating parking spaces, those very important things in life. They're getting it. And then there's the more evolved that are starting to really understand and using this science in such a powerful way that their lives transform. We're all of these teens. And that's what I was getting throughout the week. Even though I'm there as Reverend Dr. James Mellon, who has a certain amount of pedigree from all of my years in this, I wasn't at all. I remember when one teenager walked over to me and said, "Could you empty the trash on your way out?" and walked away. And I wanted to go, "Do you know who I am? Will I empty the trash?" And I did. And it's so demeaning. No, it is so, it is so humbling in the best sense of that word, because I don't necessarily like that word. But it reminds you, you are no better or no less than any single person on this planet. However, you may get it better or less than other people on this planet. So what I wanted to do, because they used Ernest Holmes throughout the whole day, I want to talk to you, and I'm going to give you a few of the workshops they did, just so you can get a sense of them in your mind. The first one I'm going to talk about is called Hop to Forgiveness. And here's the quote from Ernest Holmes. So listen. "Neither the consciousness of spirit nor the laws of the universe hold anything against us. Wherever we turn to them in recognition and acceptance, they immediately flow through us, imparting the divine givingness into our experience." So imagine just sitting there facilitating a group of 6 teenagers to get them to understand that the universal law of life holds nothing against you. Nothing in your past, for them, some of them was only 12 years. Nothing in your past is holding anything against you. I get teary-eyed just thinking about that. The law, God, as we now understand and know what God is, which is who I am, does not hold anything against us unless I hold something against me. Unless I decide to hold something against myself, and I'm willing or unwilling to forgive. So that is so powerful, and it's so interesting to watch them facilitate this in their minds and the conversations with these teens about what they have to forgive. So this was a great exercise. You then had to draw a hopscotch board. You had to chalk it onto the cement, and then you played hopscotch with the 9 laws of forgiveness. And you suddenly got what every step along the way was. Identifying it, what do you feel about it, do you want to release it, all the different steps to forgiveness. And the first thing I realized is I needed to get out of my head and forgive myself for drawing the worst hopscotch board of the entire campus. Because there were others around us, and my kids were going, "Wow, look at theirs. Theirs is really square." I was like, "So, we can still do it." Just all these little things that happen. How many of you hold it against yourself every time you do something that's not perfect? Or every time you do something that's not as good as this person's, or not as good as it looks in my head? Because I got to tell you, in my head, that hopscotch board looked great. Until I did look at the other one and went, "Oh my God, good thing I didn't try a career in art." So then you do the hopscotch. So the next thing, the whole summer, the whole week was called Work Hard, Pray Hard. Work hard, you all said play, but it's not. It's work hard, pray hard. So it was a takeoff on that. Of course, I had attitude about that. As soon as I got there, I was like, it is not hard. We should not be doing anything hard. Even work should be a perfect fluid expression of life. And they just went, just go with it. We can't change all of this now. So work hard, pray hard. And then one of the exercises was called work hard, crawl hard. I think it was Martha who said she wasn't crawling. Didn't you say that? Yeah, but you did, didn't you?
I sure did.
Yeah. So it was called Work Hard, Crawl Hard. And here's what was read. It was all about the power of your word. And it was this: we need to break through our habitual thought patterns which repeat themselves with monotonous regularity. I want to read that again so you really think about this. We need to break through our habitual thought patterns which repeat themselves with monotonous regularity. It goes on to say, we could not do this if there was not a transcendent pattern for us, if there was not a light beyond our darkness. So, how many of you recognize and can own up to the fact that there are these thought patterns, these loops going on in your mind, and that those loops are creating your future. They're creating your experience. So, but imagine a 14-year-old sitting there hearing this and talking about it and having intelligent conversations about it and getting it. Boy, how many people here would love to have heard all of this stuff when they were 12, 13, 14 years old? It would have saved us years of stuff that we created for ourselves. So this particular workshop, they brought in these 2 huge boxes and put them together. And in the middle, they had a piece of cardboard that you would stick stuff through. And on that, these kids would write all the things that block their way. And then they would write affirmation. I mean, they would write something, all the positive things about their life. So they'd have to crawl through the tunnel, and the first thing they hit is this wall of all the things that block them in their lives. And the adults had to do it too, by the way, right? And then once they proved that they were done with that, we could remove that. They would go this way, and they would see all the good things about their life, and then we would have created an affirmation for them to speak out, and to the degree that we believed that they knew what they were talking about, we opened the box and they could get through. Or actually, they broke through the box and they got out. Doesn't that sound fascinating? Yes. Upon first reading it, I had attitude. I was like, I am not crawling through a box, and I'm not getting on my hands and knees until I had to facilitate it, and I was like, I couldn't wait to do it. I really couldn't wait to do it, write all those things down. And for us, we did most of the workshops a little bit differently because me and my partner remolded them. We all did. We all remolded them. And what we did was we stood outside the box, and as soon as they started yelling out, and I made them yell so loud, what their blocks were, all of us would hit the box. And I know, wasn't it? We agreed to do it. All of us would hit the box because you know what? There is a lot of noise out there in the world, isn't there? There is so much noise, and I wanted them to feel the noise and the pressure of what it's like to live with your blocks being the things you keep thinking about. So they went through, and it was a very releasing, is there a picture up there of this? Yeah, see that there with me up in the corner? That's me coming through the box, and then they all said, oh, let's take a picture. So that was that one. The next one is, what's my weight? You wrote, and Delaney wrote that workshop. And Jade too, there was a whole team. So, and I called it, what's my weight? I think it's called, what's my way? What's in my way? I call it, what's my weight, because it's more important to me. So here's here, we all changed it. We all went through and changed it for ourselves. So here's the Ernest Holmes quote, and this is from his book, Words That Heal. He said, we are weighted with experiences that contradict faith. We are weighted with experiences that contradict faith. So I want you right now to just think, what has happened in your life that contradicts the truth of who you are? What has shown up? You know, I had cancer. That contradicted my faith, but I used faith instantly to get rid of it. So what are weighted with experiences? We are weighted with experiences that contradict faith. It is not easy to turn from negative conditions to a positive faith in God. And I want to really reiterate that for you. It is not easy to use this teaching when we're so used to not using it. So for anybody sitting out here who's like, I just can't know the truth in these situations. No, you probably can't. If you are hit with a diagnosis, your next sentence is probably not, you know what, it's all good, God is all the ways, this will unfold perfectly. It just isn't. I've never known I don't think I've known anybody. I didn't have that response. I had that response in the doctor's office when he said you had stage 4 cancer. I was like, it will all unfold perfectly. But halfway down the hill between Beverly Hills and on Coldwater Canyon, I had to pull over and cry and say to myself, what the hell happened? I am so prayed up. How could this happen? And you go there, and you're instantly going down off the cliff. And I knew it. So I instantly called Reverend Rita Andriello. And she talked me off the cliff. Well, first I had to call her off the cliff about what had happened, which helped me. Because she was like, no. I was like, yes, it's all okay, Rita. And then I heard myself helping her understand it, which helped me understand it. And then from then on, she helped me understand it. So, but that's what this is. That's what this teaching is. That's how we should use it. But first and most importantly, do not blame yourself for thinking you should be doing better than you're doing. That is going to set you off on a journey that is not positive. So this workshop I absolutely loved because what we had, it's going to sound like we tormented these kids all week. the kid would stand there, and they would write out all the things, that weigh them down. And then they would, as they said them, they got weights put on their body.
They had to put them on themselves. Yeah.
We didn't. We all put weights on them. So, yeah. We weighed them down until they were, Connie did too. Most of us all did it. All the kids put the weights on them until they were standing there, weights on their head, weights on their shoulders, elbows. Some of them chose to sit down, so they had weights on their legs, weights on their feet, and they just stood there or sat there. And their job was, once they felt it all, they were asked a question: do you want to live this way? Do you want to live with all this weight on you? Do you want to go through life having to travel with everything you think is wrong? Or can you get rid of them? And their job was then to totally get rid of them, and I loved it. Most of them just squatted and went, yeah! And then take a power pose. And then speak the truth of who they were. It was just amazing. I did a power pose so powerful. When I did that, I hit one of my kids in the head with the bag. She laughed, thank God. So that's just a few of the things we did. And so I want to finish this up this morning by bring a couple of these teens up to just get a very cute little, sweet little moment of what happened. So Leah and Alia, would you two come up first, please? Okay, Leah and Alia are first. Ivan, is Luke here? No. Okay, so then Ivan and Ryan will be next after them, and then Angie and Delaney. And is Ali here? Ale? No? And is Ari here? Good, then it's just this. So, take the mic.
Yeah.
I just want you to give them, just tell them what happened to you. Anything specific?
Well, this is my last camp, and I had a hard time thinking that I couldn't come back, and I couldn't be in this amazing, overwhelming people just loving you, no matter what the circumstances are. And, you live that way for a week, and you come back, and it's really kind of a hard transition sometimes. And I didn't want to come back because I didn't want to transition, because then it's kind of difficult. But the camp gives you tools to come home and feel okay with it and know your truth. And just having that type of love all week and learning that it's you, that the love is not outside of you, that the love is you. You can go home and know that that feeling is always there. And just the knowing is what really made me love this camp so much, because
Awesome.
I got to take these tools and know that I get to live the rest of my life with them.
So as most of you know, this was my last camp, and on the way up to the mountain, it was really hard to think about that, because this has been a home and a place of safety since I was 13 years old. And these advisors that are there have watched me grown up and grow and evolve into who I am now, and I'm so grateful. I would not be who I am right now without this teaching in the camp. But a couple days into camp, I realized that I was okay to not come back. I started realizing that I have my toolbox, and I've learned, and I can go off and become an adult and do college things and grow in this life, and I have tools that can help me get through my challenges. I don't need camp. I like camp and I'd like to be there, but I don't need it because I have my tools, and it has helped me become who I am and who I'm going to be.
Thank you. Okay, Ryan, you and Ivan. So that's a big thing, by the way. Jade gave a talk on last night about how he realized he didn't need it anymore, that he has what he has now. So it's not, I want to go there because I need it. I got it. So I loved that. I loved that talk, and I love that you just said that. Because I said to Leah, I said, so you can come back as advisor. And she was like, I know, I could. I'm not. And she said it just like that, and I just laughed. I was like, I hear you. She wants to find a place with a better bed. Okay. So, what did you learn? What happened this week? What did you learn?
This was my first camp, and
Oh, wait. Where's your picture up there?
I don't know.
Oh, it's not. Oh, it is. Your head's cut off. That's Ryan with the white T-shirt.
Next to Ivan.
No, but up top is that picture I took of you dancing so crazy. You were like airlifted. Yes, so go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, this was my first camp, so I really didn't know what to expect going into it. When I got there, I don't know, I just felt like I might not fit in. There might be, like, I don't know. I just really didn't know what to think.
And then, how'd you fit in?
I got there, and I mean, everyone's just so loving, so understanding and kind, and that really helped me just to be able to go out of my comfort zone, make new friends, strengthen the friendship that I had with a lot of the people at this center. I mean, everyone at this center, I definitely got, like in the teen group, I definitely got a lot closer with them.
Tell them the one thing you did for the first time.
I did the talent show, and I mean,
We were all sitting at the talent show, and all of a sudden they were like, "Up next, Ryan," and we were like, "What? Where did he come from? What talent is he doing?" And it was so cool.
yeah, I mean, and while I was,
He sang hip hop, rap.
yeah,
Oh, hip hop, rap. He didn't sing Tony Bennett.
but yeah, especially for the first like maybe 20 seconds of it, I was really nervous, and I mean, you could hear everything. It was just off. It was just the first 20 seconds was terrible, but then I kind of took a second to catch my breath. I took a second. I looked out to everyone, made eye contact with some people, and just knew that I could be myself. And so after that, I got used to it.
Yeah,
And
you
we're
got
good.
used to the microphone. I
We're
get it.
good.
Good job. Okay. Want to talk about drag queens?
Oh my God, no.
So I have not spent a lot of time with Ivan at the center. In fact, I remember the first time Ivan showed up at the center, and I turned around and I went, "Did somebody walk in off the street? Do they know that they're here?" I was like, "Who are you? Where'd you come from?" And it was really funny. So this week really gave us a good chance to. I have so many more interesting understandings of Ivan now. Guy, what did you learn? Because I learned a lot. What did you learn?
About what?
Everything. Like, what do you leave with? What's like?
So this was also my last camp. I have not been in CSL for that long. It's only been about 2 years and a half. And that's all thanks to Mrs. Larson and Mr. Larson. Without them, I can honestly say that I would not be myself, my real, true, authentic self, without them. And Alia and Leah, because they're also like my sisters, and I'm basically adopted. But so I went up there really excited. I was like, yeah, it's my last camp. I've never, I didn't really think it. I was trying to like avoid the thought of it being my last one. And then the second day, like, we did the weight workshop. That broke me. It cracked me. I felt like an egg, and I was like, my yolk is spilling and everything. It's just like, So, and then I was...
That's an image. Good.
And so I was like, damn, like, this is my last one. And I was like, okay, I'm good. And then the last day on empowerment night. Empowerment night, oh. Whew. So I was fine, and then I saw everyone around me, and I was like, oh my God, like, these people have, like, the advisors, my parents. Ursula was my first mom ever. And seeing her and everyone else was just like, oh my gosh, like, I'm scared. So the last day comes around, and I was thinking, I may not have all the tools I need, but there's definitely room for me to grow, and I love that.
That's good, guys. Thank you. Okay, Sydney and Manny. So these two now think they're adults. Meanwhile, how old are you?
I'm 19.
You're 19. How old are you? Yeah, okay. So they went from being participants to advisors, like overnight. And so they stepped into a leadership role. And I don't know how hard if you know how hard it is to step into a leadership role and you are now leading children, teens that are only a couple months younger than you in some cases. So how was that?
Well, it was very weird. It was kind of scary. First, like 2.5, 3 days. But there's this thing called advisor night that when like advisors go through something in their lives and they share it with the teens to help empower them to either find help or figure it out and get through it themselves. So you know what I'm doing. This one, first ever advisor decided, yeah, sure, I'll be on the panel, whatever. Lo and behold, I got picked. So I'm like, oh, okay, jeez. And that was the day that I officially came out and said, love, please, that I was diagnosed with the highest functioning form of autism called Asperger's. And that was the first day I ever said it in front of 300 and something teens and advisors. So that was harsh. But it helped empower me as well as empower multiple teens that I didn't know I could actually touch. So that was the most amazing thing that I've ever done in my life.
It was pretty great.
I am so tired right now. Listen, because I've been born and raised in this teaching as a whole, and when I was 17, I knew I wanted to be an advisor because I felt such a gap between the teens and myself, and I was like, I don't get these dance moves. I don't get this language. I'm confused, but I really resonate with the adults, so I knew I was ready for it. And I was also a co-director when I was 17. I don't know. At some point, with Echo, yeah. That's my best friend. And so we did that, and I had an opportunity to lead the camp and to lead teens, and I felt really right in that role. So coming back wasn't hard for me. It was just different. And I'm going to be 100% real here. Being an advisor, you have not a lot of time for yourself. I forgot to poop one day because I was overwhelmed with everyone else. And, everyone else was great.
We
but
almost made it through this. Almost.
And I had a moment during A's and B's, which is a loving, workshop where, one person's standing there with their eyes closed and the other person, or a bunch of people are giving you love while your eyes are closed. And I was giving love to someone, and I heard this girl just crying, and I was like, I gotta find her. And so I went and I found her, and she was sobbing, and it was the last night. I said to her, I don't know why you're crying, if you're sad, if, it's about leaving camp, if you're happy, tears. I don't know what this is, but whatever it is, you need to feel that and know that you're supported unconditionally and loved unconditionally, and this camp doesn't go anywhere once you leave it. And so I'm a mess, and so I'm doing my thing now. I'm standing there crying, and then she comes up and finds me and says, everything said back to me. And then I lost it, and then he made me cry, and then everyone made me cry. And I don't know what energy I'm running on right now, but I ran on so much energy that I didn't know existed. I was up there dancing every day. Honestly, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying. It was a good week, though. And that's all I got.
You're good. Thank you. Okay, so I hope now, I don't hope in anything. I know now that you all have a better understanding of what this week was like. And you just got a lot of it. Because it's important. It's important for you to actually get it because, frankly, most of us didn't get to go to teen camp. Most of us didn't have this as a tool when we were younger. I went away to some of my Catholic weekends, but I came back scared to death. I did. I came back scared to death because I came clean on how I'd been acting, and I was like, I'm going to hell. By the end of those weekends, these are very different. It is hell during it, and then when you leave, you're like, shower at home. No, so I want to close with this. Ernest Holmes said, the attitude we should take is that life holds nothing against us. It desires only our good. It wants us to play the game of life the way it is supposed to be played, in unity and cooperation with others. Could you give me my bag there, please? So the last thing I'm going to tell you about is I'm going to read for you live in person for the first time. Oh no, where did I put it? Oh no! I know oh, there it is. So there was a wonderful workshop called Tweet in a Bottle. Tweet in a Bottle, and it says this: since you cannot do good to all, you are to pay special attention to those who, by the accidents of time or place or circumstances, are brought into closer connection with you. St. Augustine. Everyone wrote an affirmation for someone else on the campus, and then you had to roll it down a hill, and all these little things were laying at the bottom of the hill, and you got to go pick one. And then you were to read it after the camp was over at a moment you might need it. So I thought today would be the perfect time. So I'm going to give you, I'm going to close this out. I got it. Okay, we didn't take that into consideration. So this is for you. It's not just meant for me, it is for you. Of 400 tubes, I picked this one. You have everything you need to be a superstar. There is nothing missing from you. Namaste.